Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how I did this portrait using the soft black and gray technique and also using the stipple technique. Show you guys a little bit about how I do that and how I approach it. So let me show you guys the design and then I'll show you how I did this tattoo. All right guys, so here is the design that I'm going to be working on today. We have this Greek mythology piece that we're going to be doing. We did some more Greek mythology on the wraparound of his arm. So we're going to be connecting that to the inside of his bicep today. To start off here, I just kind of want to talk about a couple different things. First and foremost is that we added this skull later on, like after I had already did this entire design, and then my client hit me with the let's add a skull. And I was like, dude, that's awesome, let's do it. So I want to talk about how I figured out how to put the skull in here and just all these flow lines and everything. So I also really want to also mention about this background here with the way that this lettering is, and the reason why I add that too is because it's already something that we did on the outside, so it all made sense. I wanted to kind of keep that same feeling and I wanted to kind of make that all flow naturally. But the flow lines itself, I didn't want to just do like big flow lines, so I wanted to keep these like smaller flow lines instead of doing like something bigger like that, because I don't know, I just think it's cool, it's different, it's not something that I typically see or really do. So, and that's something that I started on the outside of his arm that I wanted to just tie into this as well. Why I chose the direction that I did is really just about the feeling, the mood. I just really like the way that they flow this way. I didn't want so much definition going on down here in his like chest, collarbone area. I felt like that if we had these flow lines kind of going over there, then I didn't have to worry about too much detail that's going on down here. We're seeing most of our detail up in here, and that this is just kind of supporting that bottom area. Also, the reason why as well is if he ever wanted to do the inside forearm, that these flow lines will flow down into that forearm piece. So that was another reason why, a couple different reasons. The script in the background here, like I said, I just added that in there because it was tying into the other piece that he has on his arm. Thought that was a really cool idea. The background really is just a visual thing for myself. I just kind of kept it there as something that I know that I'm gonna need to shade it darker. Now, something that I do plan on doing is making this section in here just a little bit darker, so that way that the face highlights really nicely. So keeping that all pretty dark with just a stipple shading. Now, of course, it will be stipple shading, not the smooth shading that I'm using on my iPad here, but I think that was something that I really wanted to do as well, just to kind of really make this area on his cheekbone here really stand out. I really love high contrast tattoos, and I think that this is something that will make it look really nicely. Of course, also adding the background is over here as well. Talking about the face here, like I said, he wanted to add a skull. I said, that's cool, let's do it. But this is something that I wanted to really point out to you guys, is that whenever you are doing like a split face like this, whether it be a skull or a mask or whatever, you always, especially at the 3/4 angle that he is at, you want to do it on the side that is going to be having the more face showing. Because let's say if I was to do a skull all in this section over here, we're losing all this detail that's super important to define that this is a skull. And the detail being this cheekbone, the eye sockets, the nose, and all these teeth and everything. Like if I was to put this skull and flip it on the opposite side of this face, we are losing all the space for the teeth. We are not really seeing any of the cheekbone here. We're not seeing any of the nose section right in here. And the eye socket is only getting just a little bit of attention, and we don't want that. So that's why I chose to put it on this side over here and then just kind of start fading it into the background. Also the jawline, I just think that also this fits really nicely, and then it starts to fade into the chin area. I just think that this is really nice. Now, a lot of you may actually already know that, but just kind of a little something to just kind of say to you guys that if you are doing a design like this or whatever, you can try to make it work on this side as much as you want. Nothing wrong with that. Art is subjective, but the reason why I chose this side is because visually I think it looks a lot more appealing. And this is also something that I want to keep very defined throughout the years of this tattoo being on his arm. All right guys, so now that I broke my design down for you, I'm gonna show you guys my tattoo setup and then get into the tattoo. So let's go. If you are liking what you're seeing so far and you want to get a tattoo done by me, just go ahead and send me an email to krishercheltattoos@gmail.com. Give me a little bit of an introduction of yourself and some reference photos of what you're looking to get done. I specialize in black and gray realism and the color realism that you guys see on my page. So if this is something that interests you, go ahead and send me an inquiry and maybe we can do something together. All right guys, so let's talk about my setup. Today I have my FK Irons Flux Max machine, the 4.5 stroke that I always use. I have my MD wipeouts. I love these things. I really don't need many of them, so I get like half a pack. I have my water, I have my Bactine, my sponge, my dip cap. I'm using my Lubriderm lotion here, as I have been using for a while. I have 2 caps of Allegory Ultra Black. I have 1 cap of my Empire Inks Gray Wash, and then I have a single cap of the Dynamic White. My needle setup is pretty simple. I have 5 needles out of the metal fingers that I have been using. Some of you guys have been wanting to know what I personally think of them. I love them. I feel like that they are exactly what I was looking for. Very stable, very consistent. Every needle that I have used so far, I like it. I'm gonna be using this tight 3-round liner to add dimple texture for the background for the rest of his arm. I have a tight 7-round liner here that I'm just going to be using for some extra details. I have a bug pin 9 curve mag, I have a bug pin 13 curve mag, and a bug pin 19 curve mag as well for all the soft black and gray shading that I do. So that is my setup for today. So I'm gonna put on the stencil and show you guys what that looks like on his skin. The way that this is going to be is right in here, and I had already previously sized it up, and it fits very nicely right in here. So I like the way that the face is going outwards, because then we get to see it when he has his arm relaxed. We see that there's a face right there. The way that all of this is going to tie into right in here for a nice background. I feel like whenever I do bicep pieces, there's always that triangular kind of section here that is always something to worry about. So the way that the neck and the way that this like collarbone area is going to sit with this background a little bit, I really like how this is going to tie into that. Also, because when I designed this, I designed it with the outside of his arm as well, so I kept that intentional for the background to make sure it all flows together. Same with the chest piece that he has as well, and I'll show you guys what that looks like healed. But this is what I'm thinking, and let's go ahead and place the stencil now. Before placing it right onto his skin, I just kind of like hover it a little bit. And then I place it right there. I go straight from the middle, all the way down. And I like to do one side first, and then I'll go ahead and wrap that other side. So yeah, that connects really nicely in the front there. And then we're gonna go ahead and bring that background from up here, down in here, this section. But we're not gonna go anything higher than this, okay? So that we're not in your armpit area, but we'll go ahead and cap this off here. So this wasn't just a random standalone tattoo. I had already done the outer bicep on this client as well as his chest. So by the time that we got to this area, my biggest goal wasn't just creating another cool tattoo. It was making sure that everything felt connected. I always want my larger projects to read as one composition instead of a bunch of individual tattoos. That's something that gets overlooked a lot. Anybody can do a nice tattoo, but when you're building sleeves, you have to think bigger than the individual piece. You're constantly asking yourself, how is this going to flow into what I've already done? Is the eye naturally traveling throughout the arm? Are my textures consistent? Are my values balanced? Those are questions that I'm thinking about throughout the entire process. If you watched my channel before, you already know that I naturally gravitate towards darker realism, mythology statues, skulls, anything that feels dramatic. I love it. Once I had the design figured out, I started working on the portrait. For the actual face and statue, I stayed with soft black and gray shading using the pendulum technique. If you've seen some of my other videos, you already know this is my favorite way to build realism. The biggest mistake I see newer artists make is trying to finish an area in one pass. They'll try to hit the perfect value immediately instead of slowly building toward it. For me, realism is almost like sculpting. I'm not trying to force the tattoo into its existence. I'm slowly stacking values on top of each other until the form starts appearing naturally. Every pass gives me a little more information. Every layer tells me whether I need to push something darker or leave it alone. When you work that way, you have a lot more control over your transitions, and you're less likely to accidentally overwork the skin. One thing I'm always paying attention to while tattooing realism medium is where my darkest values are. I don't put black everywhere. In fact, I actually use black pretty sparingly. When everything becomes too dark, nothing feels dark anymore. Your darkest blacks only work because they're surrounded by lighter values. That's why I love high contrast tattoos. I think that they heal incredibly well. I think they're easier to read from across the room, and I think years down the road, they generally hold their visual impact much better as long as they're executed correctly. So for this tattoo, I actually kept my value range pretty limited. I wasn't interested in filling every square inch with smooth gradients. Instead, I wanted an intentional contrast. Deep blacks, bright skin breaks, clean transitions. Those three things create much more visual impact than filling everything with medium grays. I started working on the background. Instead of using the soft black and gray pendulum shading technique, I chose to stipple this entire background. There was a couple reasons for that. The first was to connect the tattoo to the work that I had already done on the outer arm. Since those pieces already had similar textures, carrying that texture into the inner bicep immediately helped everything feel unified. The second reason was contrast. Whenever I place a smooth, realistic portrait against a textured background, the portrait naturally jumps forward. Your eye is drawn toward the smoother surface because it separates itself from all the textures behind it. Texture is one of the easiest ways to create contrast without changing your values. Sometimes artists think that contrast only comes from black and gray. That's definitely part of it, but textures create contrast too. Soft versus rough, smooth versus grainy, you guys get it. Even if both areas are technically the same value, they'll still feel completely different because of the texture. That's something that I think that more artists should experiment with. Now let's talk about the hair. That's something that I think more artists should experiment with. I've covered hair in a few different videos already, so if you haven't watched those, definitely go check them out. But every project is a little different, so I'll explain how I approach this one. Whenever I tattoo hair, I'm never thinking about individual strands first. I'm thinking about shapes. Hair grows in large groups. Light hits those groups. Shadows form between those groups. So I start by blocking in those larger shadow masses using my bag. I'm creating the overall hairstyle before I even worry about the tiny details. Once those larger forms feel believable, then I start carving texture back into them. Most of that texture is done with my mag. I'll use the edge of it to create soft strands that naturally blend together. If I need something sharper or more defined, then I'll grab a lighter. Sometimes I'll even use a round shader depending on the texture I'm trying to achieve. There's no single correct needle for this. Each one gives you a different look. So instead of asking what's the best needle for hair, a better question to ask is what type of hair texture am I trying to create? Answer that first, then choose the tool that helps you achieve it. Honestly, one of the hardest parts of this tattoo had nothing to do with tattooing. It was the client's positioning. The inner bicep can be brutal areas for clients because of how long they have to keep their arm extended. After 20 or 30 minutes, people start shifting around, their shoulder gets tired, their elbow starts dropping, and that's completely understandable. As artists, I think it's our responsibility to work around that. Whenever I'm tattooing an area that's naturally uncomfortable, I try to mentally break the tattoo into sections. I'll complete one section, let the client relax for a minute, reposition them, and then move into the next area. Not only does this make the experience easier on the client, but it also helps me because I'm not fighting someone who's constantly moving from being uncomfortable. Small things like that make a huge difference over the course of an 8 or 10 hour session. Overall, I had a blast with this tattoo. Projects like this is why I love doing realism. You get to combine anatomy, sculpture, mythology, texture, storytelling, and composition into one piece. When everything comes together, it doesn't just look like a portrait anymore. It feels like it belongs on the body. And that's always my goal. I don't want my tattoos to feel like stickers. I want them to feel like that they were designed specifically for that person. All right, guys, I've talked long enough. Let's take a look at how this turned out. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys go to my channel, you can see a bunch of videos that I have covering fur textures, hair textures, color realism, anything that you guys are interested in, you can go check it out there. Also, if you guys would like, you can follow me on Instagram at krishercheltattoos, and you guys can send me an email at krishercheltattoos@gmail.com if you are interested in getting a tattoo done by me. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one.